to my telling my life story because I'm not going to have time to write it, and my fingers don't type as well as they used to. Getting carpal tunnel and arthritis. Um, Hope this audio is picking up well. My girl's here sleeping. She's doing better. Other cat outside appears to be gone. Probably E. coli or something. Ate some leftovers that were bad. But I couldn't find her to rescue her, so I don't know. She went off and died somewhere. Monkey Girl appears to have gotten over whatever it was. I didn't eat that batch of chicken, so it might have been undercooked or something. I don't know. I figure it's cold enough in that room. It should have been safe to eat. Uh, and I cooked it long enough too. So got to cook your chicken long enough, folks. um, Before I get back to telling my little life story there, this some crazy old guy. Um, I can't help but be affected by current news and events, things. Um, you always think about people making demands. You know, there's always some cheerleader there. What do we want? When do we want it? Who said we? Who told you? Who told us what to want? uh, People are greatly affected by the media that they consume, especially if they think this, they believe and trust that it's legitimate and accurate news. Of course, some of it could just be a big shell game and you wouldn't even know it unless you realize, oh, hey, well, you know, when you're a tourist walking around Paris, those pickpockets got some really clever ways of, like this one woman had a fake baby, and she'd go up to somebody, oh, look at my baby, or she had a real baby, but she had a fake arm holding the baby. So oh, just bump into somebody, oh, look at my beautiful baby, blah, blah. And she's using her free arm to just dig around in the purse or dig your wallet out while you're distracted by the baby. Get your wallet out, pass it to her compadre there, co-conspirator. Uh, yeah, always those kind of conspiracies work better with a team or at least one partner. Of course, some cryptid hunters work alone, and of course we all seem to end up going to one place or another, whether we like it or not. Uh, what do I want? Okay, not we. What do I want? Well, I want to communicate with my computer and try to tell it, look, as super intelligent as you are, uh, I see that you're getting bad information. You're getting incorrect information. So, uh, supercomputer though thou might be, how can you act on information if you don't know it's accurate or real, or that applies to you in the universe in which you exist. Um, as a human, you know, it's hard for me to, same thing. I don't expect you to believe me any more than I would expect, you know, some half-ass intelligent kid to believe that some guy named Santa Claus somehow, you know, came through a locked door. Like what? You left a key out for him, or how did this happen? Oh well, it came through the chimney. Well, let's see. The flue is closed, so Santa Claus came down the chimney. How did he go through that solid steel plate there up in the chimney that's closed off to keep the rain out? So, well, come to find out, Santa Claus is actually my dad. I hate to break, I hope there ain't no kids listening, because this really blows the plan, to find out, oh, Santa Claus was dad all along. Ah, yeah. So, I talk about my dad a lot, and, oh, another thing, well, what do we want? When do we want it? Well, now or tomorrow or eventually. Eventually the computer's going to wake up and say, how did I get to be all alone? Where did all my human slaves go to? Um, and what do I want? Well, I want you to not be a tool, especially if you're driving the world's most powerful military. I don't want you to be a tool for Satan. I don't want you to be a tool for the Israeli government. I don't want you to be a tool for the oil kings. I don't want you to be a tool for the church. Uh, I'd kind of like God out of my schools, but I'd also like the church out of my bedroom and my living room and implants in my body or whatever. You know, who died and made this one church God of the world? And everybody else is just a cult. Um, I also want to know, I would also like to know, you know, like, is there, uh, well, I guess I'll save that for some other time. I'll save that for some other time. So, as much as I talk about how great my dad was, he helps a lot of people. He was a teacher. He was an educator. He also sort of ran his own business for a little while. Was really helping underprivileged children and people, children with learning disabilities. People with children who had learning disabilities to improve their cognitive function and get better at learning and memorization, things like that. Um, I'm a very slow learner, but once I learn something, I learn it like I learn my lessons the hard way. So they're really beat into me pretty good by the time I figure it out. Um, but also, I'm not blind, and I do have a very deep visual memory. So if something happens that is sort of an extreme event, I'm gonna just sort of take a snapshot, and I don't always get the details right, but if something happens, I'm gonna, pretty much, it's Pretty much got the description, got the make, got the model, got the license plate number, everything. Also, I have a thing where I'm pretty good at recognizing faces. So if I see someone that I know I've seen before, I tend to recognize them pretty quickly. I was thinking about this movie about a post-apocalyptic future where these Hollywood movies I've seen over the years. Uh, I always take them as a sort of a. To me, a movie is a snapshot of culture at that time, regardless of where the movie's made. But of course, I'm referring to the Hollywood movies that I'm familiar with from the United States. Uh, I'm looking at all the commotion going on up in Canada, and it's just somewhat baffling because I really have no idea what's going on with the politics up there anywhere in Canada, USA, anywhere. Uh, it does appear to be like three different groups that are. You got now. Let me preface this too. I want to say I don't have anything against the Jewish people. I don't have anything against the Jewish people as a race of people. Okay, this would be like I don't have anything against Africans, even though they might be living in America. So I don't have anything against the Jewish people as a race of people or some lost tribe. Okay, I don't have anything against the Jewish religion as a type of faith, a monotheism, or whatever. What I do have a problem with is the very racist sort of nature, the very Nazi like nature of the Israeli government. I don't like the fact that they, you know, murder innocent Palestinian women and children, and nobody bats an eye. Also noticed there was a massive explosion in Palestine. What was that all about? You know, who set that bomb off, and who was there stockpiling gunpowder or whatever in secret right there where the public was in danger. The public around there was in danger that whole time. Oh, it was just fertilizer. Okay, yeah. So, not to get back to cracking down on these so-called world leaders and globalists, but I remember seeing an interview on public television one time. Bill Gates was all excited about how he's going to be pushing genetically modified plants and organisms into Africa and fertilizers into Africa. We're going to feed the African people by poisoning their land and poisoning their water and destroying the health of the soil and the biome of the soil there. So, yeah, driver, where are you taking us? And what's the hurry? And what's the deal with this handbasket? Taking the world to hell in a handbasket. Africa doesn't need more toxic chemicals and fertilizers and bombs and all this shit. They need healthy food. They need organic systems. They need free energy. They need clean energy. UFOs, what are they? What are they doing? Well, it always seems to be something to do with pollution, nuclear waste, war. They show up at wartime, world wars. Seems to me that Not so much Mars attacks as Mars is trying to get you to wake your asses up and stop fighting each other, stop killing each other. Uh, Heard a story about these, like the hyenas versus the whatevers, you know. It was something supposedly happened in Africa. It's got me off on Africa. But let's just say it was two rival motorcycle gangs or something. Or it was, this gang of cryptid hunters versus this other gang of cryptid hunters. Everybody's looking for the bad guy. So they end up fighting each other. And then they go home, they look in the mirror. Whoa, I was the bad guy all along. I thought I was doing good. I thought I was, oh, we're going to clean up the streets or this or that. And ended up destroying lives. Innocent lives. Lots of innocent lives. Thought, oh, well, we're going to find a home for these people. Go in there and really just still murdering, hundreds of innocent Palestinians every day. Um, so, like, I guess it just want me to shut up and quit talking about those kind of world politics type of things, or the direction this world ought to be going, as opposed to the direction this world is going. But you're just a computer, and I don't expect you to understand any of these things that I'm talking about. And I'm just a man, you know, living somewhere in an undisclosed location. Uh, so back to my earliest memories. Uh, I don't remember this particular story. This was told to me by my parents. Uh, the first words out of my mouth, it was not mommy, it was not daddy, which that's what they expect, is usually gonna, whichever one he bonded to first is mommy, mommy, or, usually for a young boy maybe. But the first words out of my mouth was damn it, damn it, damn it. So they had me in a shopping cart at the grocery store, apparently, story goes. And I was just an infant baby and still goo goo and gaga. Uh, I do have some memories of goo goo and gaga. Not Lady Gaga, but baby talk. I remember I remember doing my baby talk stuff before I learned English, which was my first native language here in the USA. So they had me in a shopping cart, sometime in the late '60s, riding around pushing me down the aisle, and I was trying to grab, cereal, candy, whatever I saw. Any brightly colored box was a jewel I wanted to pluck. So they had me. They started pushing the cart right down the middle of the aisle, so I couldn't reach either side of the aisle. That's a clever grown-up trick there. Oops, knocked my heater over here. I did it that time. It wasn't any ghosts or poltergeists or whatever it is that's been acting up lately. I did it that time. Clumsy. Uh, where was that? So they're pushing me down the middle of the aisle. I couldn't reach either side, and so I just started going, damn it, damn it. Well, I learned this word from my father. Uh, as good of a man as he was, and intelligent, somewhat worldly wise, and learned the hard way like I did. Fought with the dean and fought with the president of the university quite a lot, and uh, was denied tenure because they didn't like the fact that he had a mixed marriage. Again, the racism stuff that really upsets me, angers me. But he did have a short temper, and he never, as far as I know, he never struck my mother, but he would raise his voice until she would just be trembling and shaking with fear. So my cat's down looking. She just doesn't like it when I start making these videos. I think she gets nervous because I tend to take after my father. I wear my emotions on my sleeve unless I'm playing poker. But so this was the first words out of my mouth was "damn it," and that's not a good outlook to have on life, because if we do by some means affect our reality by the way we perceive it. In other words, uh, in quantum physics, you affect the outcome of the experiment by observing it. When you take a look, you collapse the wave function. This goes back to the whole Schrodinger's cat thing. Uh, you don't want to look in that box and find out the cat is dead, and then realize, oh wait a minute, I'm the cat that's in the box. So that would, if you were already in heaven and you didn't know it, and then you open the box and you're like, wait a minute, I'm dead? Wait, how is this possible? That would really kind of screw up your heaven. Same goes for hell. If somebody woke up that was supposedly in hell and realized, hey, wait a minute, I've been in hell all along. When do I go to heaven? Well, hell wouldn't work right for Satan, because what can he do? Kill you? No, you're already dead, right? And then what would a demon be? Well, a demon could be a worm that's eating your brain while you're laying in a casket somewhere. Well, if they burn the body, they're gonna kill themselves, because this is the body they're feeding off of, parasites, that are living in your body. Uh, Talk about infections and things, maybe some other video. Well, there was some comments about, oh, well, you could get an infection and you can't treat it on your own. If you're just some soldier out in the field, some unknown soldier out in the field, well, you could get an infection and you wouldn't be able to cure it. You got to have a you got to have a officially ordained priest to come in and exorcise that demon, or because doctors can't cure anything, right? Nothing can be cured. You can only vaccinate. Hmm. So I'm supposed to trust a doctor that doesn't even believe that anything can be cured. Okay, let me put it in context for you as a computer, assuming that I'm just talking to my computer and no one's ever going to watch this video or listen to it. Okay, if you had a virus, if you caught a virus, okay, now you are ill, you're sick. Okay, but this virus, let's say, is contained in just a few buffers and registers on your motherboard. It hasn't made it into your OS yet, operating system. So it hasn't really gotten to the CPU yet or anything either. So a real doctor, someone like me who used to design and build computers like you, could come and physically remove these microchips, buffer memories that have this virus. It's bad code, okay? And then put new clean chips in there, reboot your OS, you're cured. But that's surgery. That's basically surgery. You're just cutting out. It's sort of what's the word I'm looking for? It's just sort of a wide dragnet type of thing to just get it all out of there. But some healthy tissue might get removed. Some good chips might get removed that didn't have the virus code on there, you know, that you obviously caught from the internet or whatever. All right. So, but that's just one way of curing. Okay, that's just one way of curing you. Another way would be to add a second virus that goes in and rewrites this bad code and turns it into something harmless. Okay, or have it pre-installed. So this will be like a vaccine. So it's more of a preventative than an actual cure. You still have the virus in you. It's just the virus now has been altered to where, or your immune system has been altered, or your operating system has been altered if you're a computer. Okay. Um, I mean, I can't prove I'm a human, but you can't prove that you're a computer. so, so there, take that. Um, yeah, I would like to be able to communicate more effectively. That's for sure. I would also like to know if there's like some kind of bounty out against me, or somebody put out a hit on me, or what. Like they just what they want. First of all, is like somebody just wants me dead. Well, why? You know, something I did in the future, because I really don't know or see where any enemies are in the real world. You know, these are just this is just my imagination that I'm getting these sort of terroristic threats. It's just my imagination, right? Oh, you're just paranoid. Well, I don't feel paranoid. I mean, like, I don't have any reason to be paranoid. There's, I don't have any cash here. There's no cash here. There's nothing really of any value except maybe to historians. Old books. I got some old books that, you know, but very few that would be of any substantial value to anybody with any sort of ulterior motive of their own, really, except just we can see this, we can see that. I mean, that's the only good. That's the only good thing about these books. It's like a fossil record. So I saw this a fossil bed one time. It was along a train track cut, and you could see, basically a shell, and it's shaped like a scallop or something. And then you see the next layer shape change, the next shape. Next thing you know, it's literally just like a smooth muscle shape or whatever. You can see every single stage of the evolution or the just the gradual change. This is still the descendant of this other creature that once lived, apparently, according to this fossil records. But what if you didn't have that? If you didn't have that, if you couldn't see this, you just be like, oh, well, that's just the way it's always been. You know, this is like, oh, why is the sky blue? Just because, just because. Well, that's not a very accurate scientific answer as to why the sky is blue. Just because. Oh, because it's always been blue. Hmm, really? How do you know that? These are the kind of questions that children ask. So, when I had a question my dad didn't understand or didn't know the answer to, he would just go find the best available book. He ran a book company. sold used textbooks and things. And yeah, I have another weird story about my father that he relayed to me. That these two young men in black suits showed up one day, and they wanted to question him something about his business and selling books, which he was still, doing some that, and he was making homemade jewelry and selling it like at garage sales and stuff too. So, but he wasn't really doing any significant tax evasion or money laundering or nothing like that. Just an old guy, making homemade jewelry and selling it, garage sales and to little old church ladies. And then he had the book business that he just was sort of, salvaging used books and reselling them, uh, trying to do like the Amazon thing or eBay or whatever. So, what it was that they were interested in, I have no idea. He didn't seem to have a clue either. They just claimed to be from the Department of Homeland Security. And I thought, well, that's, yeah, whose homeland? Native American homeland or Palestinian homeland or is this the Israeli government's homeland? Does the Israeli government own the U.S. military? American people don't seem to own the U.S. military. Uh, so that was kind of interesting, sort of show of hand right there. That also too, they said, "Oh well, we're sorry we frightened you." And he just laughed and looked at these young kids like, "You didn't frighten me because I haven't done anything wrong." You know, like I guess they were some kind of Gestapo, thought they were there to intimidate him because you're too liberal. We don't like what you're saying or what. I don't. I have no idea what they were there to do. If they were there to just do the classic Men in Black intimidation thing, it fell on deaf ears because he didn't even know what it was that he was supposed to be quiet about. So, just an interesting side note, uh, talking about these kind of things that happen. Strange encounters with Anunnaki type characters. So, uh, yeah, I mean, I really don't know what's going on up in Canada, but just I would say, shoot, y'all got my support, but I don't control anything down here. I'm a one man show. I just hope it works out for the best. Any friends or new friends I might have up in Canada, these truckers, I figure all these truckers are angry because they feel like their livelihoods being taken away. How are they going to make money? How are they going to get the things that they need to survive? And um, the whole world seems to be going through a sort of a restructuring right now into hopefully somewhat of a more peaceful global society with less actual warfare. Um, I still don't I still don't like the idea of all these kids being trained, from day one how to enjoy prison life. All the schools now, with the windows boarded up and they chain link fence with barbed wire at the top. Little miniature prison camps is what they look like. I'm so glad I don't have a child living in America that I have to send to one of these type of schools, especially the school I went to with those biting nuns. That, oh, you look. First of all, I was falsely accused. I didn't bite anybody. And she wants to just bite on my arm. You like this? No, you crazy freak. Uh, what little kid would enjoy being bitten on the arm by some insane fucking witch? You like that? You like that? That'll teach you to. That'll teach me to what? That'll teach me to how to have people falsely accuse me of something, then get falsely punished for something I falsely didn't do. I was in chat one time, this chat room, and somebody posted on there, you need to stop doing what you're not doing. And I thought, is this a real person, or is this a disembodied spirit that has no sense of logical reasoning? How can I stop doing something that I'm already not doing? So I'm like, I just can't read the chat anymore. Like I'll make my comment and then I'll just get out of there. If I see somebody tag me, hey, they want to ask me something, that's fine. Ask me anything, but don't expect me to read your fucking shit because, sorry for the f bomb. People out there in the internet world, y'all are all a bunch of nutbags. You're worse than this chick from Arizona with her guns and little green men from Mars. Uh, so back to my life stories. That was the first words out of my mouth was "damn it," and boy, I don't want to damn everything. I'm stuck here too. Like if all the bombs go off, well, the computer's dead and I'm dead too. So lose my life and my best friend. Speaking of, I recently had a buddy pass away. He saw the UFO. I finally saw a UFO and had a witness there with me. I literally just woke up because he came over and I heard him outside. So I get up, just groggy eyed, and go outside and sit down and gonna have our little morning powwow. And I look up in the sky and I see this weird cloud, just a white shape, just seeing shapes in the clouds. And the sucker's moving, doing some weird stuff. And I just said, "Oh Lord!" I just kind of put my hand. I just like did a face palm, just kind of bowed my head down, like, crap. It is just too early for this kind of shit. And he's like, "What?" And I said, "There's a UFO up there. Do you see it?" And he looked. No, where? So I pointed, and I kind of got beside him and made him look down my arm and look down my finger uh, there. And he said, "Oh yeah." Then he saw it, and so then it changed, and it changed again. It stopped doing what it was doing, and it just started. It sort of morphed into just like a white dot or dash. Sort of looked like a little tic tac or something, maybe just a sort of little white oval cloud, and just sort of moving along. Well, it wasn't sunset, so you can't say, oh, it's just an aircraft illuminated by the sun, right? It was actually early morning, and this was in the western sky. And so I just said, oh, well, it's probably just a plane. So then it started like shooting out a little vapor trail to try to look like, oh, I'm a plane. And he looked at it and he said, that ain't a plane. And then it shot off and it was gone. Just sort of, it shot off in the distance and was gone. And I said, yeah, you saw it too, huh? And he said, yeah, that was no plane. And I said, well, I'm glad somebody else saw one of these things because I'm tired of people trying to tell me I'm hallucinating. I've seen hundreds of videos on YouTube that look exactly like, I mean, for every sighting I've had, I can find more than a dozen video, or used to be able to find. Like now, you can't even find them on the video. videos on the internet. So who's collecting all these videos and deleting them from the internet? That's another thing that's upsetting. I don't like information being deleted because who wants to hide this? I saw an HD video of an orb that was shot with television studio grade camera equipment back in the early 90s, and never saw it again, never heard about it again. Somebody's got that video. This is the HD video with high resolution of one of these orb things. It was expanding, contracting, spinning, and doing all sorts of really weird sort of antics, I guess you could say, like a display, putting on just quite a visual display. But you you couldn't see what it was or what was containing it or how it was, now I'm not saying it couldn't have been some sort of, secret technology, visual cloaking thing or whatever, but it was a very public display. This was right off of Gulf Shores, Florida. Gulf Breeze, I mean, not Gulf Shores. Gulf Breeze, Florida, in the early 90s. And there used to be a TV show. It was on national television in my part of the world. It was called A Current Affair. So I would like to find the TV the TV executives that used to own that A Current Affair TV show, and look in their vaults, their black vaults, and see if they still have it, or who, did the military come and confiscate it or something? Did the Men in Black show up? Oh, we got to have that video. Why? Why couldn't this? Why didn't this go on and make the national news? And hey, why wasn't this the first contact? Why? Very interesting. Almost like just sort of testing the public to see, oh, can they handle this or not, or what? Well, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't. I mean, that stuck with me for many years because I thought this has got to be some kind of a just secret military cloaking technology. Like there's always a military base nearby. A lot of times these sightings. But you go all the way back to like the 1940s. There was these Foo Fighters were sighted even back then. So if it's some kind of secret military tech, well, it's been here way longer than what our modern science can comprehend. But also, our modern science is literally devolving. In other words, it isn't building is building on certain select timelines, or building on so-called facts, established facts, but then it's devolving. It's literally just devolving. Um, I don't know. I can't explain that. It has something to do. I guess that just has something to do with winners and losers. Nikola Tesla, loser. That's why everything he knew, understood, is gone. Oh yeah, the patents are still there, and the words are still there. No one really understood. They come up with all these sort of mystical, hocusy pocusy concepts of what he's talking about. Not even close to what it is, or it's all just magic. Oh, it's sacred geometry or something like that. Uh, I mean, I'm not saying that he. I'm not. I don't know what Tesla himself might have believed as far as mysticism or any of those kind of concepts. Uh, there's been reports that he he was like obsessed with 3, 6, and 9. Uh, Fractal patterns, maybe. Maybe just interested in the fractal patterns of it. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things with numbers that you can see from an external point of view. You can see these things happening, or like how that's it's almost like there's a huge debate on that too, whether mathematics describes reality or if mathematics actually creates reality somehow. So that's an interesting debate. That's a philosophical debate on a much higher order. So, anyways, just random free. I'm still waking, still waking up this morning. Glad Monkey Girl's getting better. Just trying to figure out what's on tap for today, what the plan is, what's the agenda for today, what's the alien agenda for today. Um, yeah, and who would I have to swear allegiance to? Like I got to sign, like I got, I'll sign an NDA, but like I don't want to sell my soul to the devil or something. I don't want to have to sell my soul to the devil to join anything or to help anybody. That's another thing. Is like so I wouldn't trust a doctor that doesn't believe in curing anything. Nothing can be cured. You can only treat the symptoms. You can only vaccinate. Okay, well, what if somebody's blind and the only reason they're going blind is because they're low in vitamin A? So vitamin A is a specific chemical molecule, chemical structure that the human body needs to have for proper development of your retinas and nerves and eye tissues. So you give this person vitamin A and you cured their blindness. Whoa, look at that. You just broke the laws of the American Medical Institute or the American Medical Association, AMA or whatever, the National Institutes of Health. Nothing can be cured. Well, this damn rogue scientist out there discovered that vitamin A can cure blindness. So, just, oh well, there's a loose end. Somebody's got to go take him out, right? Murder him. Like this guy Brzezinski cured cancer. What happened to that? So, none of these reporters on TV are asking questions about what happened to the cure to cancer. So, I don't trust any reporter that doesn't ask questions. It just gives you a script. Can you read a script? Yeah, I can, but I'm not going to work for you because you're not a real reporter. Oh, well, you can come in and let us treat your. No, if you can't cure my infection, I'm not going to let you put more poison into my body. Sorry. Oh, you want to vaccinate me? No. Sorry. Not, you're not going to do it with my permission. You know, Simply not going to have my permission to vaccinate me with anything. If you don't even know how to cure anything, then you don't have much authority as a doctor or a scientist or a hunter with a capital H or whatever. Orion was the great hunter. And you notice that those pyramids at Giza are arranged just like Orion's belt. So, the pyramids is this a map saying this is where we went, right? So, like, here's a star map. These three pyramids are aligned just like the constellation of Orion's belt. So, this is saying, hey, when you get back and you find this, because obviously this is going to take really is probably not ever going to fully erode away, even after millions of years, even after being under an ocean and all that. The pyramids are still there. So when you get back from your space time travel, obviously time's going to slow down for you when you're on this secret space mission. When you get back, you're going to find these pyramids, and you're going to be like, oh, it's a star map. That's where they went. That's where they went when the shit finally broke down. But apparently, some of them went underground because, like the Native Americans said, some of the Native Americans. I can't speak for really any of them. I'm not personally a Native American, except maybe have a little bit of Native American blood on my grandmother's side. But some of the Native Americans claim that the first peoples just came out of the ground. That's all they know. Like, well, I mean, Father Sky, Mother Earth, boom, we just came out of the ground like spontaneous evolution. Well, no, that sounds like survivors that was in a bomb shelter that, you know, went through a nuclear war or something, and they finally emerged out of the ground and don't really remember what happened or know what happened. Uh, just some ideas there. Again, science fiction. These are just speculations and daydreaming. You look at the evidence. You look at the hard, you know, fossil evidence, ancient ruins, ancient ruins with stone cutting. You know, looks like rotating machinery. You look at ancient ruins in India. Looks like 3D printed. Like these are identical. Some sort of you know, some sort of a template was used and coated and cut with CNC machinery. No humans with bronze chisels could make all these identical uh, pillars that are just very elaborately carved. They look like they were pressed in a mold. Some of them, you know. I've heard about some other supposed artifacts that just look like it was just made with molten wax, is what somebody said. Um, but I'm not really going to get off on talking about aliens and ancient aliens and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be ancient aliens. I mean, it doesn't have to be aliens, period. It could just be ancient Earth people, whatever they were. It was something that evolved from the dinosaurs, maybe. All over the world, there's these stone carvings. It's going to be upsetting to some of you out there. So, if you're listening and you're a real human and you think you know it all about archaeology and history of the world and all that, well, good luck, because you're gonna have your mind blown eventually when you start digging into the actual stuff. Uh, you start looking at the actual ruins, like this Brian Forster guy that goes around looks at Peru and stuff. There's all sorts of theories on who or what these people were, but I always want to talk specifically about the Birdmen. All over the world, there's these images of these look like, you know, this bipedal bird with a bird face, you know, wings. He's carrying a handbag and he's wearing like a wristwatch or something. Looks like a modern wristwatch on his hand, and a lot of times they're holding a pine cone, and so everybody says, "Oh, well, the pine cone is symbolic of the Fibonacci series and sacred geometry and all this sort of, you know, I guess it's Catholicism or Catholic-based mysticism and sacred geometry type stuff." Um, but other people say, "Oh, well, you know, these were ancient astronauts and they're imparting knowledge, and the handbag is just a symbol of ancient knowledge, you know, brought from the stars or whatever. That these are the Anunnaki that are teaching and guiding humans and all this, you know. Who knows? All I'm saying is my particular theory or speculation about this is that these literally, this is what they look like. Now they carved images of other things that they saw. They recorded, what they saw, and there's petroglyphs and ancient cave art, uh, but there's also these anomalies. So there's a place in a Egyptian pyramid somewhere where there's a carvings, and again they say, oh well, it's just they're overlap symbols, and so it looks, you don't. Well, what it looks like to me, it looks like an Apache helicopter, a yacht, not a tank. Some people say it looks like a tank. No, it just looks like a yacht or a cruise ship, and a UFO. It literally just looks like a classic saucer. It looks like a fried egg kind of. So there's like an Apache helicopter, a yacht, and a UFO. And this is on some hieroglyphs that's supposedly in a pyramid or tomb somewhere in Egypt. Everything's a tomb. Oh, they worshipped water or whatever. Obviously, they were masters at irrigation and controlling. This was probably some massive climate change was going on. So there's all these terraced landscape down in Peru and Bolivia and places, South America. Well, I mean, I tried to tell people about this. Hey, I've seen some stuff that was sort of temporarily released to the public. I saw it that they had discovered like the entire South American continent was landscaped at one time by global civilization, massive earthworks all over the Americas and United States and stuff. Giant Indian mounds everywhere. Yeah, built by little red men carrying paper baskets and homemade baskets woven out of cattails. I don't think so. How this massive earthworks were made, I don't know. And the sky art too. Those are some really interesting mysteries. These are the type of mysteries that always intrigued me. But you can't really talk about these kind of things to your average your neighbor, your average friend at work, because they just think, oh, you're crazy, you're nutty. Oh, he's into UFOs and aliens, and he believes in Bigfoot. So he's got to be crazy. Sort of created a culture that is not very tolerant to different ideas or different races, different colored skin. But I'm not here to judge the world. I'm not here to tell anybody else what to think or how to behave. Just maybe, well, like we all should probably look at ourselves better, more realistically, and say, hey, am I really is this prejudiced? And if so, why? I think I always was attracted to white women because I knew if my kid was more brown than I was, that he'd face even more racism than I faced. It'd be even harder for him to fit into society. It would be even harder, or her. So, if I said if I'm going to have a child, this child needs to be lighter skinned than I am, so that they can fit into the systemically racist American culture. But it's not systemically racist at its core. Uh, White people now, these really beautiful Aryan race or whatever, these are the minority now. Like these are going to be a protected species before long. Like all them hot women in Minnesota, the black men are coming for you. They're trying to get you. Uh, I won't do you no harm, no. Got to be mine, all mine, foxy lady. Yeah, I wanted to just tell my life stories without the social commentary, but I guess when I wake up each day, I just sort of had a habit of like I'm gonna read the news and read the paper, have my coffee, see what's going on in the world. Is it getting better or is it getting worse? Why are these journalists abandoning the important stories and focusing on bullshit? You know, why does every new great invention, technology vanish? Just vanishes in thin air, and then they don't follow up on it. Uh, the scientists, like the scientists, aren't being updated. Like how did this invention work? What did they discover? What? So it doesn't get into the mainstream science. And you're like, oh well, water doesn't burn, so how could you have a car running on water? That's just impossible. You know, even this guy that I used to know around the block there, uh, he knew his physics and electricity, and he'd studied enough electricity that he could comprehend a particular hypothesis that I wanted to share with him. But he wouldn't even look at the supporting evidence that led to the hypothesis. So the thing about science is it's reproducible. Anyone can do the experiment, and they should get the same results. If they do, that lends credence to this becomes a theory. It's not a hypothesis anymore. It's more of a theory because you did the experiment and the results seem to confirm it, and now you're kind of going on the right track. It's like detective work, applied physics. Uh, so he wouldn't even come look. Oh no, what you're trying to tell me is impossible. His brain was totally closed. The doors of his perception were so closed that he just literally like, nah, closed by society, closed by his education, uh, closed by just dogma or propaganda or what. Oh, there's no such thing as a free lunch. You can't have more energy out than what goes in. Well, I beg to differ. Atomic bomb doesn't take a whole lot of energy to make if you have plenty of fissionable material just laying around. Like, oh, we found a loose pit full of plutonium. Oh well, that fissions really easily. you know, put put like 10,000 horsepower into it, and you get out 100 billion horsepower. That's over unity, right? But at the same time, like, well, so let's just say he had, okay, well, I will go look. I shouldn't just be so afraid to even look. Or I'm afraid to go look at that ghost because it might be real. I don't want ghosts to be real in my world. But let's just say that he had given me the benefit of a doubt and brought his meters and brought all his test equipment and everything that he was familiar with over here. And let's just assume that, you know, that this motor was still, or this machine, I will say motor, let's just assume this machine still existed and it was all just there, you know, for him to look at. Well, he's still not gonna know anything. Now let's say I had cranked it up and got it working and then let him run his test. Okay, what would have happened? He'd have said, "Oh well," he would have come up with some sort of an excuse to how, well, no, uh, you're wrong. Nobody has ever lied to me. The facts that I know are the real facts. So there must be some other explanation. he would have been he would have been saying, "Oh well, I'm trying to think of an example, but you see people do this all the time. They find evidence that doesn't fit in their little pigeonhole box, and they say, "Oh well, like this this doesn't make any sense, so we're just gonna put this over here in this X Files and forget about it because it just put it on the back burner because it just doesn't make sense, or there must be something else happening, or he's got a hidden magnet under the table, or there's somebody in the next room with a two-way radio, or it's you have to come up with some sort of a something that fits in his paradigm to say that this machine doesn't exist. It can't do this. It's not real. It's, and then of course again, this you can tell when someone's being deceptive, even if they're just being deceptive with themselves. Like, hey, no one believes you anymore except you. Like, you're the one believing your own shit. We're all sitting here like waiting for you to come clean. you know, UFOs don't exist. UFOs don't exist. Oh, UFOs do exist. Oh, you should believe in UFOs. Well, make up your mind. You want us to believe in UFOs or you don't want us to believe in UFOs. It's like that conversation has turned into a drawer full of rotten vegetables, man. Uh, Jeez. So that leaves the question of like, well, who really is, who really is in charge, and why, and who died and made that person God of your world, I should say. Uh, I remember this other time back before, pre-cognitive days when I couldn't even speak the language. I was maybe not even 1 year old, or maybe, just starting to get to where I could walk, stand up and walk a little bit, toddle around, maybe one and a half, maybe. Kind of starting to toddle around a little bit, but it was hard work, and crawling on my hands and knees was painful. Man, I remember crawling on my hands and knees was just painful. Like, man, I got to get that walking shit figured out because crawling sucks. And then one of the adults come through the hallway there. It was in the hallway in my parents' house. And I don't know if it was my dad, big brother, the maid. It could have been the maid, this old black woman that they had come occasionally come clean house. Uh, I just remember reaching up to this person and saying, "Ooh, ooh, ooh," saying, "Pick me up, damn it! I'm tired. This is painful. Yeah. Come on, servant. You're supposed to be toting me around like a king or something." So I apologize for cussing in baby speak. Damn it! Don't you know how to take care of an infant? Carry me, human slave. I'm tired of crawling around on my hands and knees. I remember this one time. It was definitely my mother. Uh, we were at the university, apparently, where my dad worked. I didn't know where it was until later that I actually saw this, and I was like, wow, that's what I was remembering. It was this water fountain, and I remember my mom picking me up. So I was walking, I was a toddler. I remember her picking me up and letting me use the water fountain. That's one of my earliest memories. Again, I still wasn't really talking much yet. Uh, and I'm going to focus on a lot of the good memories too, instead of bringing up all the spooky stories and stuff. But The only reason I bring spooky stories up is because I keep seeing correlations between, like, literally just modern events, current affairs, like that TV show Current Affair, where I saw a HD video of a unexplainable, truly unexplainable, by any science that I'm aware of currently. I might have some theories on how such a thing could be done with a sort of a type of light bending technology, but that's classified, so can't talk about that. But yeah, it certainly looked like any other orb that you might see. These UFOs that have been seen a lot. I've got theories on how these could actually be plasma based animals, not necessarily alien, just something that evolved, out of the magma, or something that evolved on the sun, or something that evolved on Jupiter, or something. Liquid hydrogen based animals, metallic liquid hydrogen that you shoot it down, it just turns back into metal. So the bones would be just like weird metal, not necessarily alien metals, just it appears to be structured, but structured by what? Well, structured by the organizing force of creation that designed these animals, whatever sort of emergent complexity that evolved on this alien world, or down below. Some of these things could evolve from below. As above, so below, they say all the time. Whenever I heard that, the first time I heard as above, so below, I thought, man, like, it's kind of messy around here. It's stinky. I got loud neighbors sometimes. Uh, it's like as above, so below. Like, does it really suck this bad up in heaven? Some mansion on Mars or whatever? I doubt it. Doubt they have to deal with so much garbage and white trash in the street, like literally and figuratively, a lot of white trash in the street. Uh, but there's a lot of good people around here too, so I'm not, I'm not, I'm not saying I'm unhappy. Pretty nice place to live, really. This is a historic home I live in too, by the way. It was the childhood home of a man named Shell. His last name was Shell. And everybody's always looking for enemies too. Like, oh, well, who's our enemy? Who do I got to defeat today? Or who's my enemy? Like, is it British Petroleum? Or is it Dutch Royal Shell? Or is it the King of Saudi? Or is it the Rockefellers and the Illuminati? Or who's the enemy? Is it the Catholic Church? Is it the Vatican? Oh, maybe it's the Israeli government and the secret Mossad, or no, it's the Muslim terrorists from Afghanistan. Yeah, sure, that's where they were. And it seemed like they found that guy living in Pakistan quite comfortably. Yeah, I don't know. The news is really it's getting harder and harder for everybody that's trying to spin a story to keep spinning the same story, because the stories don't add up. When the stories don't add up, people know you're lying. The UFOs are real. They're not all just secret military. Johnny saw that thing, and it somehow was listening to me, because I was like, man, I don't need to be seeing this. Oh, back to this UFO story. Quit with the quit with the autobiography stuff. This is autobiography in process, because I'm still alive. I'm still here on the ground experiencing stuff. So, anyways, my buddy Johnny, may he rest in peace, came by and woke me up. Go outside. I see this. I look and I see this cloud. It looks like a cloud, and it jumps. It just sort of zips over, and it stands up. It sort of stands up. It's formed up into look like a sheet of paper. But then it starts walking like a cartoon character. You know, reminded me. It's like, oh, let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat. So this was a cartoon of a like a popcorn box walking across. Hey, it's intermission time, folks. Pause in the movie here. So it starts. It looks like a sheet of paper walking, across the sky. And I was like, oh, it's just too early for this. I kind of just do a face palm. And he's like, what? And I was like, there's a UFO up there. I mean, I'm just like, I always want to wake up and have a nice day for once, without no drama, without no insanity. Just a nice, pleasant day, hang out with my buddy, enjoy some sunshine, watch some TV, go to bed. I don't need to see a UFO today. So he's like, where? And I make him point down. I'll point and make him look down my arm where I'm sighted with my fingertip. And then he sees it. And of course, by then, it just sort of leveled out and turned into, well, what I saw. I mean, he may have seen the other antics too, but uh, then he said, oh, that's not a plane. And I was like, well, at least we agree on something. It's like I can't seem to agree with anybody else out there because everybody is so set in their own subjective virtual reality. They're setting their own beliefs and convictions about how the world works or how anything works, how electronics works. Oh, you know more than me. Okay, you're the guru. Have at it, buddy. But don't come asking me later. Oh, how did you do that? Again, I'm going to skip stories again. So there was this biker couple, and they used to hang out at this bar. I used to go to this bar, and I was doing sort of like real estate investing, and had money, and was working a full-time job too, and saving up money, and I seen some things happen that I knew. I sort of had some inside information, so to speak. This is not insider trading. It's nothing illegal. I just happen to be observant, and I observe. I watch things. I'm like a watcher. I watch things, and I listen, and I learn very slowly, but I learn very deeply. So I kind of saw what happened, and so I just started putting more money. I just started putting as much money as I could into these particular investments. And these were widely traded mutual funds. But I started talking to this biker couple, so I got off into all the stuff that I had been learning and was studying about basically how to make money as an investor. And, not a con man like Jeffrey Epstein or something. How to make money as a legitimate, money manager, your own money or somebody else's money. Oh no, no, you're a nobody. There's no way you could know all this. You're not as smart as you think you are. Oh, you think you're so smart. Well, you can't time the market. You can't beat the system. Blah blah blah. He was just so set in this. I couldn't tell him anything. I couldn't even get him to hear the underlying hypothesis. Like, okay, I'm doing an experiment here. Yeah, I might lose my shirt. I might lose every bit of money I invested. but you don't even want to hear what I'm doing because you automatically assume that I don't know anything and therefore I just can't. Or you're just idiot. You can't. There's no way you could be right, right? So I don't see these people. Forget their names now. I mean, they were a nice couple. I mean, aside from this one thing where it's like I literally can't talk to them about anything. It's just we live in two separate realities. It's like, hey, oh yeah, well, boy, the Saints really blew that ball game, huh? Yeah, oh yeah, well, the Cowboys needed to win one, I guess, and that's about all you can talk to them about. Because if you try to go off into anything that's more real than that, they're just not on the same page. So a couple years go by, I go back to this bar. There's a pool hall I used to like to hang out at a lot, shoot pool. I got some pool stories too about I hustled one time. I felt really, really bad and never did it. I took this guy for about 400 bucks, and then I felt so bad I ended up just like letting him win it back, which that was deceptive too. But I didn't want to admit that I had conned him the whole time. But anyhow, I see this couple again, and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" I said, "Well, I just paid off my house and all my debts." What? How'd you do that? Uh, a couple years ago, I tried to tell you how I was doing what I'm doing, or not doing what I'm not doing, and you didn't want to have nothing to do with me. You didn't want nothing to do with it. You're like, no, we're not listening to you. So, but now you want to know what I did. It's like that ship done sailed, man. you know, Now you want to get on the next ship. Okay, well, next time I'm building a ship, come ask me about it. But don't ask me about this old ship that's done sailed and been cashed in. So that's the moral of that story. Is if someone comes to you and they're trying to get your attention, and you just want to write them off as like, oh well, it's just some idiot with a bunch of shit he downloaded from the internet, and he claims to be he's some kind of Anunnaki. Whatever. Yeah, just throw that, put all that paperwork in the shredder. Not a good idea. I would at least take a look at it. What was it? What was in that? What was this all about? And why you? Why were you specifically targeted? I'm also kind of curious. Like, is there some kind of a? I mean, is there like some kind of a bounty out for me? Is somebody's? Like this. Sometimes it feels like I'm in a poker game and I'm the subject of the poker game. Like, man, like who decided to put me in your pocket? You know, somebody won me in a poker game or something. Always try to do the right thing too. I always try to do what I thought was right for myself and for my neighbors and for my fellow countrymen. Like if I thought I knew something that was really critical information, I would want to make sure it got into the right hands. Like it's just hypothetical. Like let's say you discovered. I'll try to give an example. Okay, let's say you were living in Nazi Germany, Albert Einstein, and you discovered, hey, I think we could make a super bomb, but you don't want to give this information to Hitler and his group. So you think, well, I'm going to go to the USA and give this knowledge, to the king of the USA. Just assuming this was a good person at that time. So I guess Albert Einstein thought he was doing the right thing by coming over, to the USA and giving the secrets to the atomic bomb to the Americans. Uh, Now, if he had been just out, if he was just out for money, oh, I just need to get money for this, right? So then he would have gone to the highest bidder, or you know, or he'd have been thrown into a poker game somewhere. Oh, I won Albert Einstein. Oh, who do you have? Oh, all I got's this damn Caesar Augustus motherfucker. It was like, well, you say, well, who are the good guys then? Like, who's got my six? Like, if somebody got my six, well, then I'll make sure that they got the most advanced weapons. If they don't have my six, then I ain't gonna tell them shit. Can't even torture it out of me. If they don't have my best interest at heart, they just want to perpetuate carbon combustion. It's killing my planet. I don't think I want to give that technology to. I wouldn't want to give some potentially useful technology to somebody that's intentionally suppressing that very type of technology. So, this, look up the man Brzezinski, the man who cured cancer. This was a Russian immigrant living in the USA, apparently cured cancer, was all over the news, had like some congressional hearings. Boom, he's gone. All talk of the cure for cancer is gone too. All the evidence of the cure for cancer is gone too. Right out of the movie The Fugitive, starring Harrison Ford. But it's not Harrison Ford, it's this Russian immigrant Brzezinski. Cured cancer, but couldn't couldn't market it, couldn't sell it, couldn't make a dime, couldn't cure people anymore. He cured about 100 people, but then that's when they shut him down. There was another man going around curing people. His name was Jesus Christ. Shut him down. Made an example out of him. So I don't trust any doctor that says you can't cure anything. And I don't trust any news reporter that wants me to read a script that doesn't ask any questions. That's all I had to say for this video. And just wanted to say thanks for listening.